Today in the wood yard, we're splitting wood till dark. It is a glorious and beautiful day in the wood yard today. It's too bad you can't be here. It's about 33, 34 degrees this morning. Birds are singing, the sun is shining. It doesn't get much better than this. Excellent day to work outside. And I've got the rest of the day to do it. This morning I spent all morning working on YouTube stuff just for you. And I got that all done. Got all the comments answered from a couple days worth. And I did some editing. And now I'm outside and it's wonderful. And I have a large pile, as you can see back there. This was the rest of the load I cut up just the other day. I don't know, if I had to guess, there has got to be about 4, maybe 5 full cords, something like that. Between 4 and 5. That's what I'm going to get split today. I've got the rest of the day. Right now it is about 11 o'clock. And I've got until I either run out of wood or I run out of daylight. One of the two. Whichever happens first, that's when I'm going to quit. I'm going to go until my arms fall off. So I got the Eastonmade out. I've got gas. I've got oil, nothing but the best for my splitter. I put this inside the engine, and then when I use it up, I got waste oil. That's what I put into my little squirt bottle here. And for those of you that haven't seen this before, I actually lubricate my rails here with the slider plate with waste oil. What I do is I got a little hole in the top, and it just sits off to the side, and I just squirt it on the rail every once in a while. So I'm using all the waste oil to lubricate. So that's what I'm doing, and we're going to get to work and get some wood split. We're gonna make this pile get a lot bigger. Oh, here comes one of my friends again. Every time I do a video, these guys gotta fly over. For some reason, the jets, whenever I turn the camera on, they show up and they're loud and big. And I'm not reshooting it. So we're gonna get to work right now. So I decided to do a little voiceover while I was splitting wood here. I thought I'd talk about some things that come up fairly often. Guys ask me, why I use multiple saws when I'm cutting. It's a pretty simple answer, really. It's because I sharpen them all ahead of time, and I can use one saw until it's dull or the gas is out of it, so I run a tank through it, and then I grab the next saw and I cut again. It's just because of efficiency. And there are guys that I've talked to that they have one saw, and they tell me, well, I only need one saw because I can sharpen my saw in the woods. Yeah, that's fine, but you're taking time out of cutting if you're sharpening in the woods. Or for me, when I'm in my wood yard, production is going as fast as you can without having to stop. So that's why I run, at least 2, sometimes 3 or 4 saws in a day when I'm working. And what I find works good for me is to obviously start with one saw, go till it's empty, grab another saw, go till it's empty, grab another saw, go till it's empty. And after that much time, in general, I will have had about 4 hours worth of cutting, 3 to 4, depending on if I got something chucking rounds for me to get them out of the way. And by then it's nice to take a little break, and I'll sharpen the saws, all of them at one time, and then I go back to cutting again. And I've cut, my best day ever was 9, no, I take that back, it was 12 tanks of gas I ran. I cut from early in the morning till it was almost dark. But 9 is a pretty darn good day for me. If I cut 9 tanks, that's a lot of cutting. That's basically all 3 saws, if I run 3 saws, sharpening them and running 3 tanks through each one of them. So that's a real good day. But I have done, the most I ever did, like I said, was 12. And that was a long day, and that's more than I really care to do. That was a few years ago, and I cut pretty much a whole truckload that one day, if I remember right. So yeah, I cut 12, 13 full cords, something like that day. And I didn't have anybody chucking rounds for me either. That was cutting and chucking, and that's about all I could handle. And I probably don't want to do that again. So I was in a Boy Scout camp years ago with my son, and there were some professional loggers there, and they were cutting, and they had it was in the wintertime, they had a sled, like an otter sled, and they had was like 5 or 6 saws stacked up in there with their gas and everything. They had pulled into the woods because the snow was pretty deep, but they were cutting big white oaks down. And so it was a hand cut job. There was no machinery allowed on the property from what I remember. And I asked one of the guys that was logging, I said, why do you guys have so many saws? He said, so I don't lose production time. So I can just grab one saw, run a tank through it, grab the next saw, run a tank through it, and then if I have to sharpen, I can. But he said he has extra chains along too, so what he does is if he runs all of his saws or if they get dull, he actually just changes his chains right out in the field. He didn't even say that he would sharpen. He said he would just change the chain. It's faster, and he sharpens them all when he gets back at night, and the next day he's ready to cut again. Because he didn't want to waste time sharpening saws in the woods. So I thought that was kind of a good idea. But I like running either 3 or 4 saws at a time, and sometimes you'll get 2 tanks worth out of a saw. Happens fairly often that it'll stay sharp, but in general you can tell by the end of a tank it's starting to get a little bit dull, or it's just not cutting quite as good. So I like to touch them out, because I think the best time to sharpen a saw is before it's dull. If it gets to where you're fighting it, or you just notice it's not cutting very fast, it's time to stop, grab a different saw, and sharpen. Now, one of the other reasons I use multiple saws, especially in the summertime, they get a chance to cool down. It's not good for a saw to run wide open all day long. They just don't last as long. It's harder on them. By giving each of the saws a break in between and grabbing a different saw, the life of the saw is extended because of it. Another reason to have multiple saws is, obviously, if you do hit the ground and you get it dull, you just set it down and grab another saw. Another reason is if you pinch a bar. If you're cutting a tree or cutting a limb or something and you get a pinch, having an extra saw along is very nice to get the other saw free, and that does happen. So there's a lot of reasons to have multiple saws, and that's the main reasons that I like to have multiple saws. And to be able to have that sharp chain the whole time by having the same saw, or having a different saw, works really well, because you're getting maximum cutting out of it. If you just cut with one saw, you have to sharpen it. So there you go, little tips. I've been splitting for about 2 hours now. It's a little less than that, and my buzzer went off right in this area. I gotta go eat something. Hungry, but it's going really good. It's just beautiful out. It's got to be upper 30s. There's hardly any wind. Sun is shining. Oh, great to be out here. So I made a little dent. You can see I'm chucking wood over there. Normally I let it just fall off the end and I let the splitter move this way. But this wood is actually going to be stacked kind of back up against where the berm is there. So I'm chucking it over that direction because I got to make room for all this yet too. So all of this stuff has got to fit in here. So what I'm doing is I kind of cleaned out some of the area here and along the edge there. So I'm going to, when I come back, I'm going to split this stuff right in here, and then I'll split this stuff here, and then I'll move the splitter forward, and then I can let it fall off the end or chuck it that way. But I got to kind of clean out that area first, because you got to make room when you don't have machinery like me to move logs around. What you want to do, or what I do, is I try to have the wood placed when they deliver it right where I'm going to cut it, split it, and stack it. I don't have to move it. So that's how I get away with not having to have a tractor yet. I don't have to have one. I would like one. So I'm working on it, by the way. And when I come back, we're going to hit the pile again. I'm going to keep splitting until, like I said, either I run out of daylight, I run out of wood, or my arms fall off. So I'll be right back. Out of gas! Well, folks, I think I'm done for the day. I started back there and I got a bunch done. I did not get it all done. My arms are still on, they didn't fall off. I did not run out of wood, but it is getting dark out. The sun set a little while ago. The giant glowing orange orb has set in the sky over there, and the big cheese-filled orb has risen in the sky on that side. So that must mean it's getting close to nighttime. So yeah, I just ran out of gas. I went through 2 tanks, so I split for a little over 6 hours total, I think, 6.5, almost 7, something like that. I got a lot done, as you can see. I'm going to walk down here so you can see the pile. I started down here. I don't know how long ago it was. It seems like a week ago, maybe. I don't know. Down here. So there's the pile, and all the way down to here. This pile right here where Cookie and Woody are, this is dry wood. I've been throwing off to the side because that'll be ready to sell right away. And all that's left is this right here and a little bit back there. So I can finish that up probably in, I don't know, hour and a half, maybe 2, I don't know. I'll finish that up tomorrow for sure, first thing in the morning, so that's my plan. So I think the splitting is done, and I am done. Thanks for being here. Thanks for watching. Please poke the buttons. You know what to do. Hit the subscribe, the like, the share, all those good things. And tomorrow I'm going to be back here in the wood yard. You should be back here because we're going to do more work, because that's pretty much all I do. And tomorrow we'll have fun. So between now and then, get out in the woods, get cutting. Good night, Irene.